Good morning. It is Monday, 9th October. I trust that you had yourselves a wonderful weekend. It is THG News Today with Mervyn Hanley. The news this morning is brought to you the kind of compliments and powered by Colin Sons on St. Martin. Let us hear from them. Colin Sons have been serving the people of St. Martin for over 40 years. And the food and service get better and better. From early morning, customers flock to the bakery for their favorite sandwiches, cakes, pastries, you name it. First thing at mornings and last thing at afternoons, folks rush to Colin Sons for simply the best. There are two locations, Colbay and on the Punfill. In Colbay, the opening hours are Monday to Friday from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. On Saturdays, 6 a.m. to 5 p.m. And on Sundays, 6:30 a.m. to 10:30 a.m. and 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. Opening hours on the Punfill, Monday to Friday, 6:30 a.m. to 6 p.m. Saturday and Sunday, 6:30 a.m. to 1 p.m. We also cater for weddings, parties, special events, whatever the occasion. It's Colin Sons. Our staff, we are always happy to serve you. Call us today, the Colbay location, 721-544-2462. That's 721-544-2462. Or in Phillipsburg, 721-543-1059. That's 721-543-1059. It's Colin Sun Bakery. We are here to serve you. Under the leadership of Prime Minister and the Minister of Finance, the Honourable Dr. Terence Drew, the government of St. Kitts and Nevis is set to host an influential dialogue named Transformation to a Sustainable Island State, a budget conversation with the nation's youth on Wednesday, October the 11th at the St. Kitts Marriott Resort. Recognizing the pivotal role of young minds in sculpting the future, this event embodies a revolutionary stride in encouraging youth participation in high-level governmental discussions and decision-making processes. This dialogue comes as part of a series of budget meetings that are slated to take place soon, gearing up for the crucial 2024 budget debate to be held in December. The Sustainable Island State Agenda outlines a comprehensive strategy across 7 pillars, ensuring water and food security, transitioning to sustainable energy and industry, promoting sustainable settlements and a circular economy, and providing robust social protection to all citizens. This approach aims to create a resilient, inclusive, and sustainable future for St. Kitts and Nevis, prioritizing both environmental sustainability and socio-economic viability, with the conviction that the youth are not merely beneficiaries of the future, but active architects in its making. The government seeks to facilitate an environment where young voices are heard, respected, and incorporated into the national policy-making processes. The dialogue is intended to serve as a catalyst for fostering a sense of ownership and participation among the youth in national development processes. Prime Minister Dr. Terence Drew emphasizes in navigating the journey towards sustainability, it is indispensable to harness the innovation, passion, and energy to our youth. Their insights and perspectives are vital in constructing a future that is resilient, inclusive, and prosperous. The general public can join the discussion online via Zoom. News out of Montserrat. We have been following the story where the retailers have refused to distribute gas to motorists. So now we have an update on that news for you. Patience was the order of the day late Friday and most of Saturday as motorists lined up at both gas stations to get much needed fuel. The stations had declined to purchase more fuel from Delta Petroleum once their tanks ran out last Wednesday to express the need for the government of Montserrat to decide about their ongoing request for a better retail margin on fuel. As word spread that the northern station would be opened on Friday afternoon, motorists assembled awaiting service. However, they were left disappointed as an agreement had not yet been signed. Lines stretched down Sweeney's into Davy Hill, and officers from the Royal Montserrat Police Force were eventually sent out to manage the traffic. The ANF station in Sweeney's was the first to dispel fuel on Saturday around noon, with a steady line of vehicles waiting to be filled up. An average of 2 cars every 4 minutes, according to owner Ashley Lindsay told Discover Montserrat. No final agreement has been reached, Lindsay shared. The decision for both stations to reopen was to alleviate the pressure that motorists were under. The Osborne Service Centre in St. Peter's opened a few hours later once they had received fuel and completed the standard tests. The stations are calling for a margin percentage of 10% of the price per gallon and for it to be a percentage, not fixed dollar-cent figure, in order to protect against fuel market price changes. The government of Montserrat is expected to share its offer to the stations later today. And the fight continues between the Antigua and Barbuda government and Trinidad and Tobago's government, Caribbean Airlines. The Antigua and Barbuda government on Friday said it intends to fight plans by the Trinidad-based Caribbean Airlines to expand its operations into the Eastern Caribbean at the expense of the regional airline Liat 2020. A statement issued following the weekly cabinet meeting said the government had taken note of the scaling up of Caribbean Airlines, including the purchase of several ATR aircraft, with the expectation of placing them on routes serviced by Liat 1974 Limited. The statement about Caribbean Airlines expansion came from a Trinidad and Tobago parliamentarian who spoke in their parliament recently. It is evident, the cabinet concluded, that reviving Liat is not an objective of Trinidad, whose leaders are determined to capture the aviation services that Antigua and Barbuda once exported, the statement said. Delivering the $59.2 billion budget to Parliament on Monday, Trinidad and Tobago's Finance Minister Colin Sun told fellow parliamentarians that following the exit of Liat, the Caribbean region has been exhibiting strong air transport demand. He said international visitors are on the rise. As markets progressively recover, Caribbean Airlines aims to utilize its assets effectively and establish a foundation for network growth. The airline thus intends to expand its fleet to meet this growing demand through the lease of 4 additional ATRs and 3 additional B737-8s, bringing the fleet size to a pre-pandemic level, Imbert said. Caribbean Airlines also plans to lease 5 Embraers E-175 regional jets to service the intra-regional demand and to establish bases and hubs across the region to promote efficiency and cost-reducing measures. But speaking at a news conference in Antigua and Barbuda, Chief of Staff in the Office of the Prime Minister Lionel Hurst told reporters that while plans are for Liat 2020 to become fully operational by Christmas this year, St. John's is not going to lie down and allow the expansion of Caribbean Airlines in the region. We have been working with Airpeace with the expectation that it will bring capital, expertise, and of course a great deal of interest in ensuring that our Liat survives, and we believe that it is a better notion, a better approach than the plans announced by Caribbean Airlines through a parliamentarian in Trinidad and Tobago. He said Caribbean Airlines essentially intends to take from Antigua and Barbuda the aviation services that we have been providing by way of Liat for more than 60 years. So we are going to continue to fight this approach of trying to take from Antigua and Barbuda the important role which Liat did in not only providing service to interregional travel in the Caribbean, but more importantly, for Antigua and Barbuda, all those jobs, more than 600 jobs. Liat 1974 is owned by governments of Antigua and Barbuda, Barbados, Dominica, and St. Vincent and the Grenadines. It entered into administration in July 2020 following increased debt and the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic. Interesting times are ahead. It's a fight between the Antigua and Barbuda government and Caribbean Airlines, Trinidad and Tobago. We'll see how that goes. I have some comments and thoughts about that, but I'll see how this goes in the next couple of weeks or so. And finally, in our news this morning, out of the British Virgin Islands, a police officer was discovered deceased in a submerged vehicle in the British Virgin Islands. Police Detective Paul France, a UK national with nearly 40 years of experience in police forces in the UK and the BVI, has been identified as the deceased. Officers from the Royal Virgin Islands Police Force responded to a complaint of a submerged car in the waterfront area near Queen Elizabeth Park. When they arrived, they noticed a white vehicle completely buried in water. The crowd promptly aided the police and the firemen on the spot, demonstrating great camaraderie. After some effort, they discovered an unresponsive man inside the vehicle. The vehicle's lone male occupant was eventually recovered and declared dead. Commissioner of Police Mark Collins offered his profound condolences to Detective Francis' family and thanked the members of the public for their assistance throughout this tragic occurrence. The Royal Virgin Islands police force has suffered the loss of one of our own, Commissioner Collins noted. Detective France was a highly respected member of our organization, and this tragedy saddens us deeply. Our heartfelt condolences go out to his family. Anyone with knowledge about this event, you are urged to contact the police. And that is our THG news for today. Do join us again tomorrow for a similar presentation. Remember, our news is sponsored by Colin Sons on St. Martin. I am Mervyn Hanley, and I'm wishing every one of you a great Monday.